What up, everybody? It's Bernsey. Welcome back. We are going to continue with our starter anime recommendations. Last time I gave you action. This time I will give you a few more genres and we will see how it goes. If you didn't catch my last video, you can check it out right here. It was a little long-winded and a little teacher-esque, if that makes sense. It does make sense because I was a teacher for like 8 years, so I went like full teacher mode, and apologies. Hopefully this one's better. You can see a little bit more of my personality because I'm crazy. I don't know. Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. So let's get right on to it. Today we are going to talk first about adventure. Wow, that was really teacher. So anyway, we're going to do the adventure genre. Remember, like I told you, all these genres bleed over. Adventure is probably the hardest one because you're very hard pressed to find most anime without some sort of like adventure in it. So I went with some that are very, very overly adventure, and hopefully maybe one that you have never heard of. So let's kick it off. All right, the first anime I have for you in the adventure category is Cowboy Bebop. I know. Kind of old. I hate saying that because I remember like when it was coming out. But yeah, it's kind of old, but it is a great adventure anime to start with. And is really top tier. It's one of the best anime I've ever seen. Definitely almost always in my top 5 to top 10, which kind of varies depending on what mood I am in. Cowboy Bebop is an anime that combines the elements of like space western almost and like noir and kind of like jazz inspired storytelling, meaning it's kind of like, I don't know, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep. That was terrible jazz, but whatever. But it basically mixes like episodic adventures with a deeper storytelling arc. Each episode goes through backstory, bounties, different kind of adventures that are very singular to that episode, while also an underlying large story that comes to fruition at the end of the anime. It is over, there is no continuation. I would say the theme of Cowboy Bebop is going to be like existentialism, loneliness, like difficulty escaping your past. I wouldn't say dark, but it's darker than a lot of other anime, especially the other two anime that I picked for adventure. The characters are great. Spike Spiegel is one of the best written characters that I've ever seen. Also very popular, and there's also a lot of people that have seen Cowboy Bebop that haven't seen other things. And so again, I like to throw out things that you can speak, to other people with and talk about and enjoy kind of together. All right, the next anime that I have is one that you've probably never heard of. A lot of people haven't heard of it. I did hear that there's a season 2 coming out, but then I haven't seen a whole lot of information, so I'm not really sure. And even when I was kind of researching, quote unquote, I didn't find a whole lot of like solidifying information. But that anime is called A Place Further Than the Universe. A Place Further Than the Universe is about some high school girls who want to travel to Antarctica. Right? There's reasonings behind that. Don't want to give away the backstory, but it's about their journey on getting to Antarctica and kind of, what happens with that whole thing. So I would say it's a coming of age type, very inspirational, which is really neat. You don't see a lot of those. It's also, for an adventure, it's very real life, which is another reason that I wanted to put that. It highlights friendship, like perseverance, the importance of dreams and chasing those things. The girls in the show, they face like various challenges on a personal level and on a physical level, and just, lots of the challenges you would think of, like, hey, I'm gonna go to Antarctica, right? As a, say, 16, 17-year-old high school student. But it's really cool because it uses like humor and really emotional moments, and also it's really stunning. Just like looking at it, it's really pretty to show you the transformation and the life-changing impact of this journey on these young adults. It has ups and downs, ebbs and flows. It's just an anime that I like to recommend to people because it is inspirational. It's happy and sad, but all together, you're going for a goal and trying to get there. And it's an adventure that is very feasible. People could do it. I mean, yes, are there unfeasible things? Infeasible, unfeasible? I don't know, words good. Are there things that are a bit of a stretch? Of course. But all in all, it's a great anime to watch. Not a lot of people have seen it, which goes against my popular thing, but it is neat to talk about with someone who has seen it. All right, the last anime I'm going to give you in our adventure category is Freerin. I believe it's actually like Freerin Beyond Journey's End or something, but if you type in Freerin, it's going to come up. Freerin is a relatively new anime, just came out within the past year. Will definitely have more seasons. It is a continuing series. An interesting thing about Freerin is it actually replaced Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood at the top of the anime list and my anime list, or MAL, and I believe is still sitting on the top, which is pretty incredible because Full Metal Alchemist has been there for a really long time, and deservedly so. But also Freerin, so far, deservedly so. The first season was fantastic. Freerin is about an elven mage who was part of a group of heroes, I believe there's 4 of them, who set out to basically get rid of the Demon King. Freerin, the main character, is essentially growing into life and understanding humanity, even though she's an elf, and understanding relationships and different things through an experience like what she had. So before she had this group going to set out the Demon King, apparently the Demon King is kind of like coming back or whatever, so she has set out again. Well, her previous group got old and died, and so now she's getting a new group, and she's remembering experiences and learning different things along the way. It's really, really done well. It can be sad at times, but it is very much, it's very human, which is weird to say, right? Because it is an anime, for one. And 2, it's an anime about wizards and warlocks and demons and elves and stuff like that. So kind of picture like Lord of the Rings-ish, but like very human, which is I think why it struck a chord for a lot of people and is a great anime to start with. All right, so the next genre we're gonna do is fantasy. I'm a big fantasy fan myself. Some of the anime I've given you could already be fantasy very easily. Freerin, super easily, like could be fantasy. It is a fantasy adventure. That's kind of why I wanted to bleed into fantasy for the next one, so that you know, those kind of tie together, I guess, in my weird crafty way. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is Violet Evergarden. Violet Evergarden, which I'm wearing, by the way, the Violet Evergarden shirt. Ooh, hopefully that didn't mess up my mic, but this Violet Evergarden shirt is fire. Violet Evergarden is one of my favorite anime. It's really beautiful, honestly. The animation is crazy on it. It has 2 movies as well. It is a done series. It is done fantastic. So Violet Evergarden is about Violet, an auto memory doll, whose job it is to take dictation. The auto memory dolls will help kind of eloquently write the letters, if that makes sense. So express what the person is trying to express onto the page. And the whole anime is about her learning emotion and growing. And the reason is because she was raised as a war machine. So she is found by a captain or general or something like that, and her arms are gone, and she is basically like a beast. I mean, she's just like tearing people up. And he saves her, and now she's alive, but doesn't really know what to do. It kind of does like what Cowboy Bebop does, in that each episode is kind of its own story until it builds up into a really big story. And some of these stories are incredible and will make you bawl your eyes out. And yeah, I don't know. Visually stunning again. I can't say that enough. It's one of the most visually stunning animes that I've ever seen. It's one of my favorite, so I had to put it on the list. The main themes that it's exploring are like love, and then like loss and healing and human connection. Kind of a lot like the same realm as Freerin, but just in a totally different thing. So it's fantasy because they're in what looks to be an older generation. So like say the 1930s or something, but then she has fully mechanical arms that work. And so it's very weird, the juxtaposition of where they are in like a timeline, if that makes sense. Fantastic anime. Maybe a bit heavy to start with, but we're putting it on there anyway just because I like it so much. Our next fantasy anime is Ranking of Kings. Ranking of Kings is also one of my favorite. I actually slept on it for a bit because the artwork is very original. It almost looks elementary, but the story is completely not elementary. So they did that juxtaposition, I'm fairly certain, on purpose. But the anime follows Boji, who's a prince, the elder prince. This is actually Boji up here, and then like right here. If you can't tell, I really like Boji. Boji lacks physical strength. He can't hear. He can't speak. He does try, but he doesn't really know what he's not really saying anything. And what he lacks in physical strength, he really has in determination. It's basically following him to become a better him. It really explores like perseverance, courage, qualities of a leader, and showing that greatness is not defined by, physical prowess. Really good, really well done. The story is very, very entertaining. It does have a season 2, but the season 2, they go do his training, and so it's essentially the training arc, and that's what season 2 is showing you kind of what the training arc is. What the training arc is. It's entertaining, but it doesn't necessarily add to the story. So just watching season 1 and being like, you'll be fine. All right, the last fantasy anime I'm going to give you is one that is still ongoing, and that's Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer gets both a lot of love and a lot of hate. A lot of love makes a lot of sense, okay? The artwork is fantastic. It is completely different than anything I've ever seen when it comes to art style. I think it gets a lot of hate because it's popular and the story is not a riveting tale. Demon Slayer is pretty basic. It's a pretty basic story, but it's a story that's been done so many times because that basic principle of that story is good. We're following Tanjiro. Tanjiro's family gets slaughtered. The only people left that are him and his sister. His sister is basically turned into a demon, and he's trying to heal her and avenge his family. There's almost no more basic a story you can get in any form of media than revenge, right? So, or avenge, I guess. It's not revenge. It would be avenging them and helping your family. So like those two things combined are gonna make for a good story no matter what. And we follow Tanjiro and some of his friends, and they get stronger and better, and they fight demons and they overcome obstacles, and it's up and down and up and down. It is done really well. There's a reason that popular things are popular. We talked about on my podcast just the other week, I think like last week, how the Demon Slayer, the actual story is just okay, right? It's just a very basic story, but it's still done really, really well. It's also really popular and a lot of people have seen it. So you will be able to spot things like people wearing the clothing, and you'll be able to talk to people about it and bring in that camaraderie over having seen this anime. So it's a really good one to start with. And this is also one that I know that people have watched and not watched anything else. They've just watched Demon Slayer, right? Because it's available on a lot of platforms and it's been in the movie theaters with all of them, but it is still ongoing. So who knows how it's going to end. I believe the next thing that's coming out is like 3 movies. And I'm not sure if that's the end of it or what. But the last I heard, the announcement was 3 Demon Slayer movies. But there's plenty before that for you to watch as well. Super fantasy. It's a great starter anime for anyone just trying to dip their toe in and want to see really cool animation along with very solid story. Right, so we're going to end it here today with Fantasy Adventure. I gave you 6 anime. More than likely, there's a couple in there at least that you haven't seen. If you're not new to anime, if you are new to anime, then I gave you 6 to come out of the gate and just really rock with. If you do take one of my suggestions and do want to watch one of these and want somebody to talk to, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. Let me know if you've seen any of these. If you suggest anything else for anyone else that's watching this video, that would be awesome too, because I gave you 3 and there's an infinite amount. Next time we will cover 2, maybe 3 more, just depending on how much time we have. I can be long-winded. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit me up, and the next one is on its way.